In Chinese medicine, we recommend to eat according to the season. It is not just about eating seasonally, which is to eat whatever is harvested during that season. We also pay attention to how our body changes through the season and eat accordingly to optimize our well-being based on Chinese medicine theories. In this part 2 of the Spring Wellness series, I'm going to dig deeper in this concept, specifically what to eat during springtime. Hi everyone, my name is Shirley. I'm a Chinese medicine practitioner and a pharmacist in Australia. As I already explained in the previous episode, our body are emerging from the cold winter and our yang qi is starting to rise, just like the plants starting to grow. So I would like to recommend you to watch the previous episode on how do we look after ourselves and our emotional well-being during springtime. In this episode, I'm going to focus on what to eat in support of the changes in our body. So without further ado, let's dive in now. Okay, before I start in this episode, I will have to introduce a little bit more Chinese medicine theories. I hope you will listen with an open heart, even if they may not make sense or sound too foreign to you. My apology, and I hope that I get to create more videos about Chinese medicine fundamental concept in the future. This is the topic, is the part 2 for the Spring Wellness series. Part 2 is about how do we nurture our health with food and Chinese herb through the springtime. So now let's have a quick look on what does Chinese medicine recommend during spring. First of all, spring is the season to attend to the liver and the gallbladder. Once again, liver and gallbladder is not the Western medicine liver and gallbladder, it's Chinese medicine one. Just bear that in mind when I talked about it. As I mentioned in the previous episode, which you have seen this 5-element chart, springtime is in relation to liver and gallbladder. This is because during springtime, these two organs actually start waking up or become more active. So that's why we need to look after these two. One thing I must point out that these food are the food you can add more for your spring diet, but these do not replace our everyday healthy eating habit. Just like we need to have a great variety of food and our diet needs to be balanced. Let's just have a quick look. First is the lighter food, eat locally. Second is the green color food. As you've seen in the 5-element chart, green color is relating to spring. Sweet and pungent food. Sour food, I'll put a question mark here because it really depends on individual. I'll go deeper in that when we get there. Fifth is to eat less overly salty food or fatty, heavy food. Our body probably won't want to eat too much of this sort of food during springtime. Of course, you still can eat, but just eat less of them. And let's quickly go to the first category. I lump the first and second category because many green color food also fit into this category. In spring, we naturally eat less, or we eat even faster than normal. This is our body's intuitive way to cleanse the fats and the heavy food from winter. Therefore, our diet should be lighter or even the lightest of the year. It is somehow our body responds to the changes. In Chinese medicine, we say to eat food which emphasize the yang, ascending and expansive quality. Many food that we consume these days are picked months ago before it actually matured, and then they ship from one continent to another or to us and sitting in the ship for months and months. So that's why eating locally and seasonally and the freshness become very important during this time. In a way, we're also like really saving the planet with less shipping and hence less emissions. So what are they? So such as very young plants, fresh green seasonal green vegetables, sprouts, immature wicks, or other cereal grasses, of course, lots of seasonal fruits, and including a variety of mushrooms. Food is best cooked for a shorter of time, but with a higher temperature. Quick stir fries is good, even quick steaming, probably less so long hours in the oven. So next category, I'm going to touch on sweet and pungent food. In Chinese medicine, sweet and pungent food has the expansive and the rising quality. So these types of food are used to create like a personal spring, like within our body. Many complex carbohydrates have primarily sweet flavor, which also increases with sprouting, like they are grains, legumes, and seed, and including some sweet vegetables. Obviously, we prefer the young and the baby sweet vegetables such as the young beets, the baby carrot. Sweet, be aware, it's not the sugar, but just the natural sweet flavor. So let's have a look at what are the examples of sweet flavor food or Chinese herbs. You might have heard me talk a lot about Chinese herbs or food. We categorize them whether they are heaty, cold, or neutral. So when I say heaty food, is food after you eat, you just feel warmer. Curry is one of the very easily detect. And then cold food is like, say, watermelon. You feel the cooling effect. It's how the food affects how we feel after we eat. That's how we categorize Chinese herbs or food. During springtime, it's important to eat sweet but neutral. It doesn't necessarily generate a warm or cooling sensations. Spring is a very dynamic season. It could go either way. So that's why we recommend neutral. Let's have a quick look. We have honey. I don't have to go through too much about it. Shanya, which is the Chinese yam. Have a look at this picture. This picture is the Chinese yam. So it's the fresh one. Cut it into pieces and you do a quick stir fry on it with spring onion. It's actually quite yummy. Black sesame, because it's also a form of seeds. Goji berry is also neutral. Red dates. Although red date has a slightly warming effect, yet when you remove the pits, it reduces the heatiness of the red dates. And because it's sweet and it's something that we can source easily, so I put it in here as well. It's not something that you take every day, but you can add in here and there. And the other thing is make grains rice porridge, like the pictures here. The other concept I want to quickly talk about, you might ask, why sweet food? This is because liver get active during springtime. However, there is also a chance that it get too active because in Chinese medicine, the liver is the system that manage our stress level. When we are too stressed and the liver try to compensate, it get more active. And then when it get overly active, it affect the spleen. Chinese medicine spleen in Western medicine is our digestive system. And that's why it explains why when people are very stressed, their digestive system start to have problems. So in Chinese medicine, we think sweet flavor food is to nourish the spleen. And this also explains why when people are very stressed, we start to crave for sweet food. This is why we can take a bit of more sweet food during springtime. It's more or less to look after our spleen. Yeah, I hope I explained that. So pungent cooking herbs, some examples are basil, rosemary, garlic, and onion. So you may wonder why I put these two flavors of food in the same category. This is due to one of the major concepts of Chinese herbal formula, or how a Chinese herbalist prescribe. In Chinese, it's called 心肝化阳. It's actually mean the combination of sweet and pungent flavors actually can generate yang. Remember what I say in the previous episode is during springtime is the time that we nourish our yang. One that I want to say is pungent, but not necessarily spicy, like here. Especially this hard to digest, heavy curry. Yeah, you can eat it from time to time, but not something that you would want to eat in a large quantity. So sour food. So I put a lot of questions mark here because sour is a bit tricky because it depends on individual. This is because liver is a very interesting and dynamic organ system in Chinese medicine. When I do research on this topic, I noticed there are two schools of theories. One school, they actually recommend eat less sour food during springtime. One of the reasons is because liver, we prefer to be sweating, moving, and dispersing. Sour food, we think, has the ability to astringent, collect, and firm. So when we look at these two properties, they kind of opposing each other. So that's why in order for the liver to really sweating and moving, we shouldn't eat too much of sour food because we actually want to encourage the moving quality. However, when it's used correctly, it can help to prevent the liver to be overactive. And that's why in Chinese medicine, the categories of Chinese herbs are slightly sour, but they are actually, we say it can soothe the liver. Because when the liver gets too active, we need to calm it down. Some of the sour fruit and Chinese herbs examples are lemon, lime, vinegar, bai shao. It's in this picture, it's peony root. Shanza is the hawthorn fruit. I'm sorry, this is a little bit complicated concept. So if it doesn't make sense to you, if you're not sure what's going on, either you check with your Chinese medicine practitioner or just simply stick to your usual routine or adopt a neutral approach. Okay, next, Chinese herbal tea for spring. So just now I talked about the combination of pungent and sweet flavor. This is a good example. 薄荷 in Chinese, which is mint. Mint has the pungent flavor. You add a little bit of honey. It gives you a very gentle lifting sensation. 薄荷 can facilitate the smooth flow of liver qi. Mai Ya is also a Chinese herb, and which is the barley sprout or mao. Mai Ya is sweet and neutral, so it fits to the category that I just mentioned. The function of Mai Ya is actually to facilitate the smooth flow of liver qi again. These are the Chinese herbs that you can introduce in your tea drinking habit. And Mai Ya also have additional benefit of relieving the food stagnations, because we want to make sure our food is light, and if accidentally or just craving for harder to digest food, and after that you can drink a cup of Mai Ya tea to help with that. And of course, people who is gluten sensitive, then just be aware of this. Might not be the best idea. So let's look at the next slides. Huang Qi, Goji Zi, which is the goji, and or the Jihua, which is the chrysanthemum tea. So let's have a quick chat about goji berries. It is gentle and neutral. You can take throughout the 4 seasons. The thing with the goji is there is a trick. Each season, if you combine with different types of herbs, it actually enhance the properties. And springtime is the time that you actually can either drink it as a single tea, or you can add the Huang Qi, because Huang Qi has the property to rise the yang qi in our body. So this combination is good. And you can also add the Jihua. Jihua is a chrysanthemum flower, which I already mentioned in my first video. So Jihua is a sweet and pungent, once again, the combination of the flavor. And it also soothes the liver. So you can have all these 3 in combination, or one or the other. The next I talked about is the sanja, which is the hawthorn fruit, as you can see here. This is a sour one that I mentioned. So if you're unsure, you don't have to. But if for any reason you take it and you feel that after you take it, you feel somehow a little bit better, then you know is suitable for you. So like I always say, listen to your body. So sanja tea, the sour tea with a bit of honey. So let's do a quick summary of the first and the second episode. Springtime is the time that we can go to bed a little bit later at night and rise early, according to the sunrise and the sunset. Spring is a good time to learn new things. Go out for more walks in the nature. Be mindful of our anger and emotions. Learn ways to manage them. So please go back to my first episode on some of the tips. So finally is eat lighter food, eat more green seasonal vegetables and fruits, young plants, sprouting fruits, sweet and pungent flavor food. Eat less of overly salty, oily and heavy food. So that's all to conclude this spring wellness series, and happy spring for those who have restrictions. I know it's very hard, and I hope that we look after ourselves even more during this time and look after each other. Even though we feel quite constrained in our home, there are still ways that we could go out for walks. So if you like the slide that you have just seen, please go ahead to my website to grab a copy. It will be sent directly to your inbox. This is my website address. Last but not least, if you find the videos are helpful, so please follow, like and share And I will see you in my other social platform, the Facebook and the Instagram. If you do have any questions, do feel free to leave a comment here. I'll try my best to answer. So these are some of the references that I use. That's all from me today for the Northern Hemisphere audience. Please take good care during the autumn time. You can go to my winter wellness episode to start prepare yourself for the winter. I know the COVID is quite rampant there. Please stay safe, take very good care, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye everyone. Thank you for watching.